Hi, welcome to another reading of Hot Flash Divas. I'm author Shirley Garrett, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 59, Ambulance, Rock and Roll. Before I knew what was happening, I was strapped to the gurney and in the ambulance. The ambulance took off with sirens blaring. I could hear old-time rock and roll from the radio in the front competing with the sirens. Everything in that ambulance jiggled and rattled. With every turn, I was grateful I was strapped to the gurney. I slid forward when the ambulance came to an abrupt stop and felt it begin to back up, accompanied by loud beeps. When it came to a complete stop, the back doors opened. I was pulled out and rolled through the emergency ambulance entrance into a tiny room. A nurse came in and took my vitals. Your blood pressure's high. Does it tend to run high? She pulled off the cuff. No, it usually runs low, but I'm scared half to death, and they shot me up with an EpiPen, I said. She ran a thermometer over my forehead. That would explain it. Be back in a jiffy to start your IV. When the nurse returned, she inserted my IV like a real pro. I hardly felt the stick. When securing the IV in place, she said, "The doctor will be in to see you soon." She covered my bare legs with a warm white blanket and left. Moments later, Mike raced in the door, eyes wide with what looked like panic. Are you all right? So far. My tongue felt thick. Do I still look like a grouper? I'd no sooner asked the question when my stomach gave a massive lurch. I turned and barfed over the side of the bed. Mike dodged sideways toward the front of the bed to make sure I missed his shoes and pants. I wanted to snap my fingers and disappear in a poof. He held his nose and in a nasal tone says, "This is the most exciting date I've ever had." You don't get out much, do you? I put my hand on my forehead while I tried to control my queasy stomach. A doctor in dark blue scrubs raced past Mike into my minuscule room. He stepped in the vomit and skidded, feet first, halfway under my bed. Just let me die now, Lord, so I don't have to face the humiliation. I pulled myself up and peered over the sidebars on my bed into the startled brown eyes of the doctor. I'm so sorry. Are you hurt? I asked. I could hear Mike chuckling. The doctor put down a hand to push to a sitting position. He placed it in a chunky section of my stomach contents. Raising it, he scrunched his nose as he watched the mess drip off his hand. Mike's subtle chuckle had advanced to a guffaw. A nurse came in the room, followed Mike's gaze to the floor, and gasped. With eyes as big as frisbees, she picked her way with care to the doctor's side and assisted him to his feet. The frowning doctor wiped his hand on his scrubs. Call housekeeping to clean up this mess and move her to another room. He looked back at me. I'll be back. He started out the door, stopped, and turned toward the nurse. Oh, and get her a vomiting pan. Do you think you can walk to the room next door? The nurse asked. I nodded and slid out of bed onto the clean side of the floor. Once we were in the next room, Mike handed me my purse. I thought you might need this. He grinned. This will make quite a story to tell our grandchildren someday. Startled by the remark, I narrowed my eyes. I don't have children. I have one daughter, Rachel. She and my son-in-law, Mark, told me she was pregnant before I left for this trip. Then you can tell your grandchildren about the crazy date you had with a woman you met in Florida. He cocked his head and winked. We'll see. 20 minutes later, the doctor walked back in the room with clean scrubs and damp hair. Now tell me, have you ever had a reaction like this before? No. I was eating boiled shrimp, and then I couldn't breathe. I don't understand. I had shellfish when I first arrived on Saturday. Nothing happened. Then I remembered I felt a little itchy when I went to bed that night, but there was no rash the next morning. There were 2 paramedics at the restaurant that saved my life. They told me I had grouper lips. The doctor's gaze drifted to my mouth. He tried his best to maintain his composure, but the corners of his mouth kept twitching up. He stood in front of the computer terminal, did some typing, and read the screen. He shoved the terminal toward the wall. Mr. and Mrs. O'Leary, my gaze shot to Mike. His grin widened, maximizing his dimples. Dr. O'Leary, I'm not married, I corrected, frowning at Mike. You've developed an allergic reaction to shrimp. I suggest you avoid all shellfish to be on the safe side. I'll write you a prescription for antihistamines and a corticosteroid. He turned to face Mike. Can you take her to a pharmacy to get her prescriptions filled? Yes, I'll take care of that. The doctor smiled down at me. You were lucky, just fish lips and a little facial swelling. If you had hives, you'd be miserable. I'm going to order a cortisone shot before you leave, so don't begin taking any cortisone pills until tomorrow. Start the antihistamine tonight before you go to bed. If you get worse, come back. He nodded and left. Next to arrive was a fresh-faced young lady with a clipboard full of forms who wanted my driver's license and insurance card. 30 minutes later, I surrendered my credit card for my copay and in return received a shot, 2 prescriptions, and paperwork. I excused myself to go to the ladies' room. My primary purpose was to find a mirror. One look and I nearly peed my pants, which in an instant changed my priority. When I emerged from the stall, I looked in the mirror again. My lips looked as though an inexperienced plastic surgeon had gone crazy with lip fillers. My skin was splotchy and my hair needed combing. The only 2 good things I could say were that I was alive and I didn't vomit on my new sundress. I pulled my toothbrush and paste out of my purse to freshen my mouth, which tasted awful. I brushed my hair, powdered my face, and decided to forego the lipstick. The lips didn't need any further embellishment. I left the ladies' room and walked toward Mike. He grinned and ran his hand through his hair. You're a hell of a date, fish lips. For some reason, the way he said it was both endearing and hilarious. We laughed as he took my hand and led me to his car. We managed to calm our laughter to intermittent giggles by the time we pulled into the drive-thru of a CVS pharmacy. We did fine as long as we didn't look at each other. While he waited, he touched my lips with his index finger and asked, "Does it hurt?" I shook my head. He leaned over and kissed me with such tenderness. It was the most sensual kiss I'd ever experienced. As he pinged a 10 on my kissing meter, the Dixie area of my body tingled. I was hoping for a repeat performance, but the pharmacy clerk slid open the window. Your prescriptions are ready. Thank you for listening. Hope you had a great day today. Please like, subscribe, leave comments. Please share with other people. The book and the ebook is available on Amazon along with the follow-up book, Hot Flash Desires. Have a great day and please stay well and safe. Bye.